Absolutely.
But thanks to them, we're back curling on absolutely fantastic ice, and the shot making as a result of it has been phenomenal.
With Team Geam trying a run back there, it looks like it actually removed one of their own stones, leaving Team Sturmay counting 3 points and throwing. So a bit of an error there in first end.
Yeah, good place guard here, and Selena might be looking at a steal this end. We'll see what Abby can come up with here. Team Sturmay is going with its same lineup from last year. This is their World Silver Junior team that they had from a few years ago. Girls told me they're glad to be back together and throwing together again. Right now, they're sitting 24th in the world rankings. Team Jin is sitting in 8th spot on the world rankings right now. So a couple heavyweights going at it in this final.
As we had mentioned, Team Geam will be here for 73 days, and I don't think Team Sturmay will be slowing down too much over the next little while either. I think their next event is in 3 days at the Saville Sports Center.
They'll be playing in the U25 event at the Saville, and I was looking at their schedule over the next little while, and they're going to be a busy bunch of gals. Well, I think everybody's looking to grab those first few early points. Everybody's really bunched up in those world rankings, and if a person or a team, I should say, can get out and grab a few points early, it might be the difference between making some of the big events and not.
Here we have Minji Kim here attempting a double takeout. It just didn't quite curl enough. Still sits in a pretty decent spot up in front of the other yellow stone, but it is accessible.
Selena will be asking Abby to remove that rock, and maybe if she could just wiggle over and corner that red one, I think that would leave things pretty decent. Jason?
It's always good to be sitting multiple points, whether you have hammer or not. I'd say the goal for Team Sturmay here heading into this end would be to either force the other team to one or get a point themselves. Looks like they might be able to achieve objective number 2.
I think she hit the wrong one first there, but looks like the Korean team is sitting 1 now.
I spoke too soon.
A little unfortunate on that one. But I guess the 2 balls now in play, Jason.
Mm-hmm. I guess that's just the downside to trying to go after it in the first end. You know, you might not quite have the same knowledge of the ice as you would later in the game. You might be prone to just missing the odd line call or weight call just because you're not as familiar with the ice.
The ice has been known to be a little patchy here this weekend. Different paths will give you different results. It definitely leads to the fact that it's a team game. You need to know where to put that stick down. The thrower knows what they need to throw, and those sweepers really have to be on their toes.
And after a miss by Abby Marks, it appears as though Minji Kim followed with a miss of her own. Might just open the door back for Team Sturmay.
Well, looks like Selena's maybe electing to play that slash run back. From our vantage point, it's really tough to see if it's there or not, but I'm thinking that if she's playing it, it must be there.
Looks like it's about half open there, Ross, and if she's able to stick it right behind her other 2 just off center guards, she could be sitting 2 points both of them at least half buried. Be a pretty good position for Team Yellow.
Absolutely.
They're on it early. Off and on usually means a good thing. Great shot.
Selena makes no mistake and slashes the yellow one into the red, takes it out, and I believe she is sitting 2 there, Jason.
Just the way she drew it up. I understand Selena goes way back here at the Leduc Curling Club as well.
Yeah, this is actually where she threw her first few rocks as a little tiger.
I understand you were her coach as well. Is that right, Ross?
Many, many years ago. Yeah, I did a bit of coaching for her as well. The biggest thing is we had a natural mixed team. So my oldest daughter, Athena, Karsten, and Selena made up a natural mixed team, and we actually played a ton of mixed adult league. I think Selena was about 4 or 5 years old when she threw her first rock. She buried both feet in the hack and put both hands on the handle and let one fly. It made it all the way down, halfway down the ice, and she said, "Dad, did I do good?" I said, "Not bad." Second one, she bore down a little harder and let another one fly, and it actually made the 8-foot.
Wow.
And we gave her 2 thumbs up for that one.
And the rest, they say, is history.
Absolutely.
Valiant effort there from Team Game. Looks like they... Is that fully buried? Looks like it's almost fully buried behind the 2 yellow rocks just off the center line. But it is behind the tee line, giving Selena an option to freeze right down to it.
Yeah, there's an out there. If she's a little heavy and maybe moves it back a bit, she could be sitting there. I think the ideal shot there, Jason, would be just to come down and basically corner freeze and hope that it's good enough for the steal.
I guess the bonus is she just saw her opposition throw the same path here, so she should be able to use that for a bit of feedback. I like your chances.
Hopefully the sweepers got a time. They relayed it to her, and she nails it. They're starting to go a little early. That's...
Can I grab anything else for you?
They're on it early.
A little concerning. And it looks like it's moving a ton as well, but yeah, it's light.
Crashes on the guard.
So all of a sudden, Jean is looking at a possible deuce out of nothing. The dreaded skipper's deuce is on the way.
Although these are 2 very high caliber teams, as you had alluded to in the world rankings, it is still August. So they shouldn't be quite in mid-season form yet.
Yeah,
we might be seeing the odd break or 2 going back and forth.
Everybody's still dusting off the cobwebs.
We'll give you a little update here from Sheet 5 next door in the men's game. It appears as though we just have a blank end in the first end. So we have a 0-0 match going into end number 2.
Well, we're not blanking in the women's game, that's for sure, Jason. Question is it going to be 2-0 or is it going to be 1? Sweepers look like they kind of like it. They're kind of on and off it.
It just doesn't seem to want to curl. They're attempting to make the rock curl, but unfortunately it crashes on the guard. And Team Sturmay meets objective number 1. They are able to force their opposition Team Game to 1 point, making the score 1-0 heading into end number 2.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
Okay, we're back here in Leduc. End number 2. Team Geem was able to score 1 point in the first end. Now throwing the red stones without hammer. Score is 1-0.
This one looks like it might be a little short. Bit of a break for Team Sturmay right out of the blocks here in number 2. Events like these aren't possible unless you have some great sponsors, Jason. Did you want to tell us who's involved this year?
Absolutely. We have a number of sponsors here who have helped make the event possible this year. First, I'd like to mention Global Machine and Supply, the co-op in Leduc here, as well as Hack to House. Candace with Hack to House, curling equipment from the hack to your house.
Selena's calling corner guard. And Paige Papley delivers. Nice corner guard. Want to run by the rules of what we're playing here this weekend with, Jason?
Absolutely. We have an 8-end game, 5-rock rule, meaning that teams are not allowed to remove any stone outside of the house above into what we call the free guard zone until the 6th stone of the end. So for the first 5 rocks at the end, if anyone places a rock within that free guard zone, it cannot be removed, meaning more rocks in play, more fun, and more entertainment for the viewers.
What about yourself, Jason? Have you played any of the 5-rock no-tick?
I have not yet. I know they were experimenting with the no-tick rule last year during some of the Grand Slam. And
what are your feelings about that?
I don't mind it. It seems like when you get later in the game, teams are getting so good at the tick nowadays that they make 2 and the end's over. So I think it's good for the game.
Yeah, I think it'll eventually be across the board. I don't ever foresee there being a 6-rock free guard zone.
I guess it just depends how good curlers get. See if they force the organizers of the power up or higher ups to make any more changes. But I like what curling World Curling Federation and Curling Canada have been able to do to be progressive.
Absolutely. Been a few changes to the point systems as well, and I think I read all of those new changes and everything looked pretty reasonable as well, where some of these teams that are sitting in just outside the super elite top 16 are going to have a little bit better chance of breaking through into that top 16 the way they've structured the points now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The teams that want to play every weekend are restricted, I guess, by the number of events they get to count as the season goes along. So there are specific deadlines this year where teams can only count 2 of their events, and so the teams that don't curl as much have just as much of an advantage as the teams that do.
What are you doing this year for curling, Jason?
I will be curling with Team Gauthier this year out of Victoria, BC.
Oh, nice.
Jacques is a past world junior champion. He's based out of Winnipeg, but the rest of our team is based out of Victoria. So we'll be attempting to, I guess our goal this year would be to go to the Brier representing BC this year.
Awesome. So when do you guys get your season started?
We will begin the same time as, I guess Team Selena Sturmay's next event. We'll be in the under 25 event at the Saville Curling Club. I'll be welcoming the rest of my team to Edmonton here, tomorrow, and then we'll get our couple of reps in over the next couple of days, and then eventually we'll start on Wednesday.
Well, good luck to you at that event next weekend.
Thank you, Ross.
Back to our game here. The Korean team looks like they're trying to remove the stone on behind the corner guard there. And looks like Selena's going to have an opportunity to maybe set up her 2 points with that miss, Jason.
Mm-hmm. It was unfortunate. It didn't clip the guard or the rock in the house. So now that rock is still completely buried and gives Team Sturmay another chance to bury another one.
Let's see what Kate can do.
So you'll notice Team Sturmay was wearing their black hardline jerseys for this event. You would be used to seeing this team wearing green and gold.
They've worn the green and gold for a few years, yep.
They have all been graduates of the University of Alberta program, the Pandas, and have played in university play as well as junior play all the way throughout their university career. I think they're going to be trading in their green and gold jackets for red and gold this year with one of their main sponsors, Papley Drilling, trying to match those colors. Team Sturmay would also like to thank Back 40 Distillery, KS Manufacturing, Rosca DBO, Aquatech, Menard Financial, Above and Beyond Promotions, and Elevate Sports Performance for their support this year.
I don't know where you're getting all this information from, Jason. You know more than I know. All I knew is their jackets were coming.
Sometimes kids don't like to tell their parents everything.
I guess so. Well, the Korean team did remove the rock on the side of the house there and rolled to the back of the house. Selena looks like she's asking Abby just to come around, and probably top 4 would be the plan A shot. Ice has been breaking nicely and consistently. Like always, you throw the right weight and you watch it and sweep it at the proper time, and the result is usually pretty good.
Mm-hmm. One thing I have noticed about a lot of the draw shots, if the weight is up, the break point is quite late today. So as you noticed at the end of end number 1, if the weight was a little bit up, it didn't curl until late, and the rock hangs out until the end. So obviously that would affect the line. So it'd be just interesting to see how much the two teams pick up on that today.
I was watching Karsten's semifinal game earlier, and exactly what you said, that little bit of extra weight and that break point was affected drastically.
So although that rock was left a little bit short by Team Sturmay, it appears that they will be able to use that later. So I would say that would still be better than going deep, but it does still give Team Geem a chance to come around and sit 2 points. Really put the pressure on Team Sturmay this end.
Looking pretty good there. Yeah, excellent shot. Finished hard at the end. So looking like Selena's going to start doing some damage control here, trying to open things up. She does have hammer this end, but doesn't really want to get into a situation where she has to absolutely make some fantastic shot to score her one. So asking for Abby to rearrange those at the top of the house. And got the bonus of squeaking one in.
Great result. I think at the beginning of the game, it's important not to go too hard too early. So the decision to bail here, I think, was a good one, and it's forced Team Game into playing more of a defensive strategy to try to get the force instead of where she was looking. Looked like the steal was on.
Was brewing, yep. Well, even now, the double on the two reds will be available after the Koreans remove this yellow stone. So good chance that Selena will be sitting two after two rocks here. And the deuce will still be on.
Looks like Team Game is lining up at least lining up what could be a double, but it looks too flat to me the way they're playing it off of this side rock. The double looks like it would jam the other way as well.
I thought I saw them motion for the hit and roll off the rock that the broom is on there, Jason. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can make that double the other way. Or
So we have a relatively soft weight takeout coming in. Hits it quite thin and actually moves one of the rocks off the 4-foot and into the 12-foot. It's close, but it looks like Team Game is just lying two.
Well, that definitely did take away the red double that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, not a bad result.
No, that actually worked out quite well.
Mm-hmm. So you know Selena much better than I do. What do you think she's talking about with her third?
Well, I think she's concerned right now about the fact that the 4-foot's kind of closing down. There are a number of red rocks in the house. My personal feeling of watching her over the years is she's going to do exactly what she just lined up. She'll be playing that short run, and if she gets lucky, she might get that back red one in the 8-foot, and maybe both of her yellow rocks kind of roll into that corner, and it could end up being an interesting end yet, Jace. Can't miss this one, though.
A big sweep from Paige Papley. She did connect, but she didn't remove the red stone and removed her own as well. So it appears his Team Game is lying three, but they're all open. Bit of a threat for Team Sturmay now.
Yeah, well-placed rock here would leave Selena probably a really hard draw. She would obviously have the hit and roll, but much easier playing the draw than the hit and roll. How deep would you come with this one, Jason? I'm thinking just a piece of the button. Just a piece of the 4-foot, sorry.
Yeah, I think you'd want to be just deep enough so that it makes it as hard as as hard as it can be for Selena to draw for 1 point, but not too deep that she can come right down to it and tap it out to score 1 point. Biting the forefoot?
Biting the forefoot, definitely not behind the tee line. Girls are going hard on it. I don't know, are they going to get it there? Oh, it's still gliding.
Interesting development. Comes up short. And instantly, Selena is looking at the triple takeout. Think it's there?
I do believe so.
Yeah, so Selena essentially has a decision to make. Does she try the takeout, the triple takeout for 2 points, or just simply draw down to one of those red rocks or somewhere closer to the button for 1?
Selena loves throwing the high hard one. I got my money bet on it's going to be the high hard one.
All right, for all you folks watching at home, wanting to scout Team Sturmay, now you know she wants to throw the high hard one.
Kate's going to come down and talk some sense into her and say, Selena, play that draw.
Just giving you an update on the men's game. Team Sturmay had the hammer going into the second end, and they were able to convert their 2 points. So they've taken a 2-0 lead over Team Slaczynski going into the third.
Well, I should have bet you, Jason.
Should have. Yeah. I think this just goes to show how confident Selena is in her own ability to make this shot. It may be the riskier one, but it is the one that gives most reward. So what she wanted to play, I like her chances. Guess we'll find out.
We'll find out here shortly, Jason.
They're on it right out of her hand. Kate good helps in sweeping. And she gets all 3. Oh, but rolls out of the house as well, forcing herself to just the 1 point, but still quite a good shot. Just missed, just over curled, and she rolled out. So making the score 1-1 going into end number 3. We're back here at the Leduc Curling Club. End number 3. Paige Papley leading us off here after Selena Sturmay made a valiant effort trying to get her 2 points. The triple takeout, just rolling out. Team Geem has the hammer heading into the third end, throwing the red rocks. Selena has called for a tight guard. Looks like we're in for more action.
Yeah, just missed that triple. I think if it was just maybe a little thinner, she might have just hung it on for that second point. Good shot anyway. Tied after 2. Well, early in the end here, do you want to run through a few more of those sponsors that are responsible for this great event, Jason?
Absolutely. So we have Ice Advice, Sensor, and Ice Temp. And Scott runs that. Scott has been responsible for a lot of the live stream that you would have seen throughout the weekend. So we can thank Scott for that. We also have TaylorMade Wellness, providing massage and chiropractor services to all of our athletes.
What about commentators, Jason?
I don't think we've been given those same services, Ross.
Oh,
No.
I think we got to negotiate that next time into our contract.
We will have to throw that in. Absolutely. So, fun fact about a couple of the members of Team Geem. Yiyun and Yeji are twins, with both of their birthdays falling on Friday here at this event on August 26th. So a belated happy birthday to them, as well as their second, Suji. Her birthday was also this weekend, yesterday. So they've been able to celebrate quite a lot this weekend, and obviously hoping to celebrate again today.
Happy birthday, gals. I heard that Jason is a great singer. Is there a version of Happy Birthday coming down?
I think you'd have to pay me a lot more money than I'm getting to sing Happy Birthday for you all.
She just coming down to that, Jason, or do you think they're trying to push it back a bit?
Well, with the ice where it is, it looks like they're attempting to make a move on it. And I guess since they do have the hammer, if they are just able to just clip that top guard, it's not the end of the world. They can
open it
maybe
up,
force it into two corners.
or tap it straight back.
Yeah, that was a major overcurl on that rock. And it left the guard sitting there, and it pushed the yellow rock in. So definitely not ideal for Team Game.
I've always been amazed how one rock can totally change the complexion of an end. It's an interesting story. Well, I guess study, more of a study that commonly, and I don't know if you knew this or not, Jason, but in curling, it would be called throwing a zero. And a lot of times when one team throws a zero, it's followed up by the other team doing exactly the same thing. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I have referred to those shots as SAMs, though, in the past, shot after miss.
Oh, okay.
And typically when I'm evaluating which team, being able to capitalize on the SAMs, they're usually the team that comes out on top. So I think there's something to that study, Ross.
No, it was proven actually statistically significant that it does happen. And not only in the sport of curling, but any sport. One bad play is followed with another bad play. Must be that lapse of focus just for that little bit. It's like, oh, I got a free one.
Mm-hmm. Just letting your foot off the gas just enough.
Yep.
We did see that in the first end as well when Abby had missed her shot. It was followed up by a miss by Minji as well. So
maybe there is some truth to that study.
However, it is obviously a beneficial shot if you're able to follow up a miss with a make of your own. So it appears as though Team Geem did make a nice double peel there. So it should help out their situation, at least temporarily. But it is looking very, very good to be yellow still with two rocks buried behind that center guard.
Is Selena just coming down to that top one, or is she trying to loop around everything? I'm not sure. I didn't see the call.
It looks like where her broom is positioned, they're trying to just end up right on top of their top yellow there, just around the center guard. But it is hanging.
Yeah, it's coming down quite a bit. There it goes. Nice shot by Kate.
Great result by Kate Goodhelpson. It leaves Unji no choice but to play this run back and hope to connect with at least one of the yellows.
I'm thinking the train collides with that red one in the back there eventually as well. Hit this the wrong way and yellow might be sitting 3. No, just gets rid of the 1.
Quite a good result still, able to move the guard out of the way as well, which I think is just as important as removing one of the rocks down in the house. Forcing Selena into another guard.
And that red one might be slightly guarded now as well, so giving Selena's team less of an opportunity to get rid of that one down the road.
This is going to be a back and forth effort here with Selena calling for guards and Unji calling for removals of those guards. At this point, it looks like Unji is going to have to draw a piece of the button for her 1, assuming nothing changes, which is
just straight peels.
Not very safe to assume.
Well, you know what happens when you assume, Jason. Little over curl on that guard, though. We don't have the privilege of having an overhead shot, so we're kind of stuck here not knowing how open rocks are or how they're actually positioned in the house. So forgive us when we say something silly that doesn't make sense if you saw the overhead shot.
Yeah, just as Ross said, it's not really safe to assume, and that's a lot of what we're doing. So if it appears as though they're going for that back rock, so I think it's safe to assume they can see a piece of it. Trying to remove both yellows.
Well, it was lined up kind of the way we thought it was.
Mm-hmm. Just as you said, they did make contact with the yellows, but it did remove the back red as well.
I guess these old tired eyes still aren't that tired. Even though we're looking at it from the side and good draw here by Abby, and the team Sturmay would be looking pretty good again, I think, Jason.
Mm-hmm. It seems as though every end we've had, the team without the hammer, early at least, has had the advantage.
And been putting the pressure on the other team. Doesn't look like the girls really want to touch this one too much.
Looked like it snapped really late there and actually came down.
It's at the hog line, it was looking kind of warm. Mm-hmm. I thought anyway.
That might have caught a piece of something there. It definitely caught the sweepers by surprise, and we can't quite tell from our vantage point, but it looks like it's a very close between those two rocks for second shot.
Could make a big difference in the end, though, if red is second shot.
Unji has signaled for hack weight, just trying to remove the shot stone.
Line's looking pretty good.
You know what they say, when line's good and weight's good,
usually get a 4 out of 4.
It's usually a 4 out of 4. Great shot. So I think regardless of whether or not the red rock is second shot, Selena doesn't really have a choice here. She's going to have to go after shot stone. And if it is close, I think she'd be wise to try to roll closer to that red stone to leave her a chance at a double down the line.
Yeah, that would be I think, plan A. Hit and roll over. Maybe Team Jean ends up nosing it, and maybe Selena can get a double with her second one to maybe get the force in this end.
She just have to flirt with that top, just off center yellow guard as well. So see how she can navigate these rocks.
Well, inched it a little bit closer to that other red one. With another rock on top of that one, it would be in, I think, double range there, Jason.
Mm-hmm. And as we've been told, the scouting report says Selena does like to throw the hard one. So she wouldn't shy away from that double attempt.
Just bringing you up to speed on the men's game, which I've been keeping an eye on, and Aaron Sluchinski has a free draw to the house for his deuce in 3, and it's a tie ball game after 3 at 2.
It looked like Karsten Sturmay attempted a triple takeout on his last rock to try to force Sluchinski into a blank, and he was able to remove 2 but not 3. So tie ball game. Team Sturmay with hammer going into the 4th. Back to our feature game here. Looks like Unji is attempting to roll behind those two guards just staggered on the right side of the sheet. She's able to roll behind and at least spread them out so that it doesn't appear there is a double.
And if Karsten and the boys would get out of the way, we could tell you if it's open or not.
And we're back to the who's second shot conversation. So if red is shot, Ross, what would you suggest they do here?
Well, that looks pretty buried from what I can tell. Shot rock, anyway. I don't know. Do you go aggressive or do you roll the dice and try to lob one around everything there?
Mm-hmm. I guess there are 2 options, right? You have, if you believe that red is second shot, you could try to hit that open one and just concede the deuce. Or you could just say, you know what? I'm going to go aggressive, lob one around just like you said, and you might get lucky and potentially get a steal out of it.
Or give up 3.
Yes. Selena has been won this game at least to go for the risk versus reward shot. So that's just a test of the confidence in her abilities.
Looks like they've decided that the draw is what they'll be playing.
This could be a turning point in the game.
Watched a few of Selena's games this weekend, and she did have good draw weight this weekend. I hope I just didn't jinx her.
The commentator's curse.
Sweepers look like they like it. They're kind of on and off.
Mostly off now.
Off now, yeah.
At this point, they're hoping that they can catch something in the house.
Well, there you go. That commentator's curse.
Well, Selena, if you're watching this game back, you know that you can blame your father for that one. Big opportunity for Team Game now. Looks like an open draw to the house, or at least to the 8-foot for
at least 2,
potentially 3. Yeah.
That overhead shot would definitely be beneficial right now, Jason.
By the amount of times the women have looked at the rocks, I don't know if it actually would have helped us that much.
I was hoping your eagle eye would be able to decipher that one.
Unji with her final stone in the third end.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. They're just dusting it in. Definitely 2 points.
Right onto the button. Well managed. Great shot. And I'm assuming we're going to see the measuring stick come out at the end of this end. Stay tuned.
Well, they didn't have to go that far to get it. Well, let's put bets on red or yellow, Jason.
From our vantage point, we really don't know. But I'm going to say red.
I'm going to go yellow.
Okay. I think at one point in the end, Unji did tap the yellow stone.
You weren't supposed to see that. I thought I could maybe convince you to get me a free pop if I won the bet.
So the stick comes around. They're pointing at yellow.
Aha.
All right, so that would be 2 points for Team Game. They take a 3-1 lead into the fourth end.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
And the red rocks without hammer, and Team Sturmay is throwing the yellow, carrying the last rock.
Maybe you could explain to all of us, Jason, how these different series are working this year in Alberta.
Absolutely. So this event is the first event of many here at the Leduc Curling Club this year. The Alberta Curling Series is putting on 6 men's events and 6 women's events this year, all labeled Alberta Curling Series 1 through 5, and we have one Alberta Curling Series major event. So the next event here at the Leduc Curling Club would be September 9th to 12th. That's the men's major presented by Global Machine and Supply. You can see the Leduc Curling Club for ticket information for that. There will be a great field. As far as the Boston Pizza Alberta Curling Tour is concerned, the Alberta Curling Tour covers all of the Alberta Curling Series events, as well as many other men's and women's events throughout the curling season this year. So every Alberta Curling Series event is listed on the Alberta Curling Tour, and teams within Alberta use those to gather points to attempt to get berths into provincials, as well as attempt to get a berth into our Boston Pizza Alberta Curling Tour Championship at the end of the year. And the caveat being that any team, even if they're outside of Alberta, is eligible for that. So you can find all of the information on the Boston Pizza Alberta Curling Tour on our Curling Alberta website, Boston Pizza Alberta Curling Tour tab.
Thanks, Jace, for explaining that. You made it such a complicated thing sound so simple. Sounds like we're in to be watching a lot of curling in Leduc this year.
Yes, and the curling club here hosted the Alberta Curling Tour Championship last year, and it was a success. And so we've continued along this year. It looks like, Leduc is going to be a busy curling club for competitive curlers this year. They'll also be hosting various number of mixed doubles events as well. So the Alberta Curling Series is busy, and as so is the Leduc Curling Club.
And you guys just wrapped up another probably successful year of the Alberta Rocks, Jason, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was we took a 2-year hiatus through just stating COVID-19 concerns, but we were back this year. We had our 4-day camp here, our Alberta Rocks Junior Curling Camps. We had 114 young curlers and 25 various coaches helping out. It was a great time, and I would say it was a great success.
Well, I know Karsten and Selena really used to look forward to that event every year. Then they got too old and they started instructing. A little too busy this year to help out, but I'm sure they will be helping out in future years.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I understand Selena recently graduated from the University of Alberta, and she is a pediatrics nurse. Is that correct?
Yeah, so they just moved. Well, let's backtrack a bit. Big wedding this year, July 9th. Selena married Keaton Boyd, so that was the big event of the summer for our family anyway. Then, just to complicate things a little bit more, Selena decided that it was time to move from Calgary back to Leduc. So the weekend after her wedding, we helped move them back to Leduc. So it's been a little busy, hectic schedule for Selena. And yeah, she's now, she used to be working at the Foothills Hospital, and now she's back at the Stollery Hospital as a pediatric nurse.
Well, congratulations to Selena and Keaton.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun that day. Organized chaos, I think, is the best way to explain a wedding.
I was in attendance, and I would say it was a very, very fun event, and you couldn't tell that there were any chaos.
No, it did turn out well. It was fun.
What's a wedding without a little bit of chaos, really?
So true. Well, Selena, I think, is going to be trying hard to get her deuce back here this end and tie the ball game up. Slipped maybe just a little bit too deep with that shot.
You could see Paige Papley was sweeping that rock to try to get it farther away from the button. Why would she do that?
Well, if Team Jim ends up freezing that back rock, I think we're constricting that forefoot so much it's going to be extremely difficult for Selena's team to end up scoring that deuce this end.
Yes, farther from the button would be advantageous, I would say. If they didn't further that rock behind the tee line, it looked like Team Game where they ended up, that rock would have been completely frozen, not able to be removed. So heads up play by Paige Papley.
Selena electing probably just to push back that rock a bit, create herself a bit of a wall, and give the Korean team a little harder time of getting rid of her rock.
There's been one commonality between the first four ends, and these two teams are definitely not shying away from rocks in play. The thing when you have rocks in play, you want to make sure you establish your angles the right way. Because if not, one kaboom and all your rocks could be gone.
So still electing not to do any removing, just establish more angles. The Korean gals have decided to freeze on that top yellow one. Sooner or later, I think we're going to see some granite fly. And I have a feeling it's going to be after this shot.
Team Game is sweeping this one early.
It's going hard. It might way over curl. And that kind of throws a bit of a curveball into the whole equation now.
It sure does, yes. Although Team Sturmay is shot rock, Team Game has second and third shot, and it appears like they're all guarded. So that might be problematic for Team Sturmay to try to get a second one in there.
Throw a setup shot.
Yeah.
With this one, kind of 8-footish.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait at least one more stone before we get to see the kaboom.
Or you could do that. I don't know if there's second shot, though.
It might not matter yet. They still have quite a few rocks remaining, but I think that rock is positioned beautifully. I don't think that either one of those yellow rocks are going anywhere anytime soon.
Unji's pointing to the back one. It must be shot over the top yellow one.
Dare I say it, is it guard for your lifetime?
It possibly could be, Jason.
Just to give you an update on the men's sheet, it appeared as though Carson Sturmay attempted a double takeout for 2 points, and he did remove both rocks, but the rock that he threw, his shot rock, slid just through the rings as Jeremy Hardy swept it through the rings. I think it was just a single, so Carson Sturmay was forced to 1, taking the lead into the fifth end, 3-2. So it appears as though Unji has asked Minji to just throw up a rock in the top 8 foot, just to try to establish some sort of angle to promote a rock into those two yellows.
Tables have turned, exactly what Selena was trying with the previous shot.
Or they were smarter than us and they attempted to throw a guard. Either way, it makes things a little bit more difficult for Team Sturmay to promote those two yellows.
Down the road, do you think there's a possibility of slicing that red one into that back red one to push it across the face of that yellow one?
There are many combinations of runbacks available, but it looks like it will have to be a double combination at some point. I don't know if there's any risk, though, of trying to throw anything into that. because it looks like those 2 yellows are going to move right into the 2 reds. We could be seeing as many as 4 on the table.
That's another option. If you can see some of that yellow one, send the double yellow into those 2 reds.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to spring them that far to be sitting a pile. But that yellow rock in the top of the 4 seems to be fairly buried behind those red ones. I don't think you can see enough of it.
Yes, it looks like it's sunk right under those double off centers. The one in the back 4 looks slightly open, but not open enough to, or the angles just don't make sense for them to attempt to hit that. But they may use that as backing for a draw.
I missed the call here where the girl's looking to just bump a little bit. Is that what the call was, Jason?
I think the call was either the freeze or just a little tap back to try to sit second shot. Just attempting to bump their top 4 rock. Doesn't look like they've bumped it far enough.
Well, I think it's close. Did that maybe set up the angles with moving all 3 of those yellows onto those 2 red ones?
It would be frightening to be red right now. That's for certain. We might be into betting mode again, who we think is second shot.
Oh, by the way, thanks for the pop last time.
One general rule in most curling ends is it's better to be in front of the tee line than behind. As you can see, all the yellow rocks are in front of the tee line, and the 2 red rocks are vulnerable behind the tee line. It's just whether or not Team Game can protect their 2 reds at the back. Is there 2 angles there? Or just the one that they threw?
I think just the one. I can't see her getting into the 4-foot from there.
She might have to attempt some wizardry.
I'm thinking you guard for dear life. And maybe do a bunch of praying. Do you think it's going to bend that much, Jace?
I think the goal here would be to...
I guess
I'm not entirely sure. Attempt to get second shot, if they're not already. I'm a little confused by this call.
I mean, the ice has been moving a fair bit, but I'm having a hard time believing it's going to finish full 4 to be second shot.
They have elected to completely ignore the other side of the sheet, where Selena may have a tap back to at least promote that top 4 rock to score 2 points.
I'll miss the guard by a fair bit.
It's looking heavy as well, as it slides through the back 8-foot and all the way through the rings.
But that didn't even come close to the 4-foot.
As you often see in the games, when you have to slide that wide, it's a complete guess as far as what you think the speed of the ice will be. And she obviously guessed heavy.
Wait in line. Total guess out there.
Curling's not an easy game. So Selena looks like she suggested a potential double run back with those 2 red rocks on the left side of the center line. from our overhead view.
Well, I don't think you can hurt yourself, but I'm wondering, doesn't she see enough of that yellow one sticking out?
She might. The one that's sticking out, however, it looks like it will drag that yellow combination of rocks straight back. And yes, it would allow them to score 2, but I don't think that they would still touch that other red.
I guess another factor that comes into play is, are they actually second shot?
Absolutely. If so, then maybe that was why Team Game elected to try to block that other side, to block the potential draw for 3, which they have not looked at. Looks like all 4 of them have had some sort of input, and they're all looking at this high red guard. Looks like that's what they've decided. Looks like if we were to draw this up on a teleprompter, we would go top red guard into tight red guard into the pile of rocks.
I don't know where you would want it to go.
These 2 teams have absolutely tested our ability to read angles from the side of the sheet.
Well, she's going to be throwing something, and she's going to be throwing it hard. And I guess we'll see what happens.
The thing is, this is her first stone, so maybe she's attempting to open it up.
Open it up?
Yeah.
I mean, that wouldn't be the worst, I guess. Open it up and do some damage with your second one.
Either way, if I'm Team Game, I'm tensing up a little bit, hoping that this ends with anything less than a 3 at this point. Oh, just misses that top 8 rock. Great effort.
If that's what she was trying.
I think she was attempting to run the red into the red and into that top 8 rock just to promote it into the pile and hope that she might clip that back red. Noting that the other back red is still open. If she was able to get the one on the back 4, well, that's biting the center line. That's one really, really lonely red. Just missed. I had a teammate once that referred to a 32nd of an inch, and I think that's about what she missed it by. Very close.
Especially when you're hitting 2 rocks. Life is a little more forgiving when you're only hitting 1.
As we see Team Game standing behind the hog line, I think it'd be important to recognize their supporters as well. The Gyeonggi province, as well as Savoy Hotel. So thank you to those two supporters of Team Game as they call a timeout and they bring out at least one of their members.
Want to run through any more sponsors there, Jason?
Absolutely. So I think we can recognize Tim's Ice Crew again, Kyle Winters and Justin Runciman for the ice this week. As Ross alluded to, there were some challenges and they've been able to maneuver through them and give us the surface that we have today. It's been fantastic. Lots of late break. So thank you to them. Also like to thank Sticks and Stones Pub and Concession at the Leduc Rec Center. Andrea Proctor and the Leduc Curling Club, as well as Lindsay Birch in the Alberta Curling Series. This event could not run without those 3, and we thank them all.
A great event always needs great sponsors and great individuals.
Andrea has been quite a busy club manager this year, and it's only in August. The Leduc Curling Club is one of the few curling clubs in the area that opens as early as they do. They had ice available, I think, the beginning of August for all of the teams in the Edmonton area, and even some teams traveling from out of town to come and throw before the season starts. Leduc is known for opening their club quite early, and I think the curling community can thank them for that.
Yeah, the door's always open here in Leduc, so a lot of international teams in the past you have camped out here for the summer and got an early start to their seasons. And like I said, those early points this year are going to be a big deal because everybody's jam-packed between positions 16 and 26.
Absolutely. And those positions are the positions that would currently fall within the Grand Slam of Curling's Tier 2 version of the Tour Challenge this year, one of the Grand Slam events. And I think these early events, with that Tour Challenge being as early as it is this year, are going to really play a big factor into who gets invited to that Grand Slam. So there are 2 Grand Slams, I believe, that fall before Thanksgiving Day weekend, or one on Thanksgiving Day and one before that. So this event should play a factor, absolutely.
A couple of our Canadian teams went over to Europe to play in the big event there, the Colton Flash, and the U.S. team, Corey Dropkin, was out visiting the European teams. I think it was the Biden Masters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, out in Switzerland. I think Team Dropkin stayed for the next Euro Super Series event this weekend as well. I think that they made the final. They might be playing currently.
I heard they were in the semis. I didn't hear if they made the final or not. Well, I think we've got an opportunity here to fire that yellow long guard by the hog line way into the pack and see what kind of damage it does.
This is going to be a heave and a hope. And there are many different angles I think she can get lucky with here. It looks like she'd be lining up to go right in between those 2 rocks in the 8-foot and actually make contact with that one she touched right there, right in the top 4. And it might get both. As we said before, if she had to hit the one on the right side first, it would drag to the left and it just hit the back left one. But if she hits the one that's just about biting the center line, it actually should drag the other way and connect with both. So this would be a shot for 5?
It could be, yep.
Maybe even 6.
Well, they're definitely sitting 1, and they will be scoring 1. But
Yes.
It could be a pile more.
Turning point number 2 right here.
Nice clean release.
Paige Papley on the sweep.
Oh,
Sending it in and just missed. So we have at least 1 yellow, and they're looking for the second point. Any bets here, Ross?
Oh, I'll go yellow again.
I think that by default I will go red.
Yeah, that's a long ways to raise a rock.
And they've called for the measure again. As this game just finishes the 4th end, we are into skip stones on the men's game in the 5th end. Appears as though
Karsten's sitting 1, I would say.
Yeah, Team Sturmay may be sitting 1 and throwing.
So 2 rocks to come yet? Yeah. 2 rocks to come. Sluchinski has hammer. Karsten sitting 1. Probably just throwing a guard, I would say, Jason.
Mm-hmm. We have Abby Marks and Minji Kim here in the house, measuring the stones.
Karsten throwing on the other sheet.
Carson has a new look lineup this year.
Yeah, it's the same lineup that they had in the Grand Slam and Olds last year. J.D. Lind is playing third. Most of you probably know him from coaching Team Fujisawa, the Japanese gals. Kyle Doring from Manitoba is playing second. And longtime player Glenn Venance is Karsten's lead. The two of them have been together for quite a few years now.
We also have a new look lineup with Team Slaczynski, who last year elected to play the entire season with 3 players. They have added longtime skip Jeremy Hardy to the back end to complete the foursome there. So we have Dylan Webster at lead, Kerr Drummond at second, Jeremy Hardy at third, and Aaron Slaczynski with skip.
I'm 2-0, Jason.
That was a red measure?
No, that was a yellow.
It was a yellow measure. All right, so yellow scores 2 points this end. We will verify that when we come back.
I think that's what.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
In this final, with the women's final, and been treated to some really great shot making, and indeed it is quite a barn burner that we do have going here right now. Updating the men's game, Aaron Slaczynski tried a run back and kind of mishit it just a smidge, and or maybe no, sorry, I think he ended up scoring a point. So it'll be a tie ball game there as well after 5 ends. Yeah, I'll confirm that because Jeremy's just hanging the score up right now. So it was a double angle raise, takeout, roll for 1 for Aaron Slaczynski.
What a brilliant shot. So just as we've seen in every other end, the center guard has gone up, and we have some play to the middle.
Paige Papley just sliding a little bit deep, a little bit behind the tee line. But with the 2 guards in play and the 1 rock behind the tee line, somebody's scoring this end, Jason.
At least at this point, yes. We have Yeun Sol throwing lead stones for Team Game. You may have recognized this team from last year at the Grand Slam of Curling Champions Cup in Olds. They were runner-up, made it all the way to the final before bowing out of that event. You might also recognize Unji from the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi. So lots of experience here. This team also was set to participate at the 2020 Women's World Championships in Prince George before that was canceled due to COVID-19. So this team is quite accomplished, and I mean, definitely has their creds to their name.
Yeah, well traveled.
All members of this team actually came from the same high school in Songhyun High School in Ujeongbu. So longtime friends and teammates coming together all from the same area.
And fierce competitors. It's kind of neat. You don't see that often anymore, that 4 men or women out of the same high school ending up being a competitive team nowadays.
This might be almost as close as you can get with the 4 ladies here from the same university joining forces from the University of Alberta. It's about as close as we've come nowadays in Canada with all of our residency rule changes and teams playing or players playing together from different provinces. It's definitely not common to see them all from the same city.
Not
never mind
anymore.
The same high school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Back when Grandma was a girl, Jason, and I was curling, you actually did see that quite often. But as curling became more competitive, everybody started searching to the next town to get another player. Then it became to the next half of the province. And then you started looking across the country to build your team, which it is kind of the way it is now.
It's definitely become more of a business than it had been in the past, where teams are just trying to get the best players, and they don't necessarily have to be friends off the ice in order to be good teammates. Not that it isn't a social game still, but there is that business aspect.
Well, it becomes quite expensive when you're traveling across the country, across the pond to play in these events. Either you have to have really good sponsors or big, deep pockets.
Yes, it's a true commitment. And you have to find jobs that will allow you to
give you the
flexibility
and time, which throws another wrench into the thing. Personally, I don't know. I've always thought that if we're looking for a Team Canada, I honestly don't understand why we have any residency rules. What are your thoughts, Jason?
I think there's just a level of tradition that the Brier and the Scotties Tournament of Hearts has that curlers like to hang on to, and if that's what leads to our national champions and our teams that represent Team Canada, well, I think that's the way it has to be. There'd have to be a pretty big change for us to...
Oh, there has been rumors about that, but all we've gotten so far is rumors. But I don't know. In my personal opinion, if you're looking for the best Team Canada, have your teams. I don't think they should be restricted by residencies.
You see the Canada Cup, and that's just the best of the best. And although teams have been formed to meet residency rules for the Brier and the Scotties, at least at that event, we don't see those
barriers.
Those barriers, yeah. So maybe that could be the potential solution.
I mean, a lot of the European countries, Asian countries, it's basically there's no residency rule there. They basically get the team, and the team is picked. Now, there will always be that debate about which system is best, I guess, but right now I think that system is kind of overtaking ours.
Yeah, you've seen that at the last Olympics where we had one of our teams medal out of the 3, and it was a bronze medal. So I think that's just a testament to everyone else getting really good, much better, and Canada continually being, deepest country, but just not having those all-star teams like you've been alluding to there. Big miss from Team Kim taking out, well, not taking out any of their rocks, but moving both of them from the 4-foot into the 12-foot.
Really nice shot. I was just keeping my eye on the men's final, and Team Sluchinski was in a little bit of trouble, but after a great shot, they're now sitting 1 with a few rocks to come in the 6th end. In our feature game, the women's final, Abby Marks has just thrown a well-placed guard on shot rock. Looks like they're looking for the run back double here, Jason.
Got a high, hard one coming down. Sweepers on it all the way. And a connection. Great shot.
Can't ask for anything better than that.
Now they have one rock where that rock was bumped by Team Geem on her last shot there. It actually bumped it to be frozen on top of a Team Sturmay stone. It's looking like that break is really paying off at the moment. We can't get rid of that one, and the other rock is in the back 12 that may or may not be shot rock over the yellow. Either way, it's forcing Team Sturmay into a draw.
Should we say maybe a desperation draw?
This one is a very crucial point in the end. Absolutely. If Abby makes this, it's going to put the pressure back onto Team Geem. If not, we could be seeing a crooked number.
Well, the girls are working on it pretty hard. I don't know. Is it going to get there, Jason?
This team is known for its sweeping power. Pretty good. I think it is shot rock. Fully buried.
They're called the Twin Towers, those two.
I'm sure they'd love to hear you say that.
No, they take pride in that. You know, those gals have known to drag a rock in their day. A few of them, anyway. Really good sweepers.
I was lucky enough to curl with Paige Papley in a weekly doubles league. I was sparring with her just last week, and wow, can she drag a rock? I think I threw one that would have had a 16 in front of it, and she dragged it all the way into the 8-foot. I think the University of Alberta is known for building some pretty strong sweepers with their program they have in place.
Looking for the run back here.
Made the run back, but really unlucky jam at the back.
And
Looks
I think
like
that's
yellow is still shot rock.
jam for shot, yeah.
As a line caller, you have to look at those back rocks, and I think it was just unfortunate the way it ended up.
On the men's sheet, there's rocks flying all over the place. I'm not really sure what all happened, but we had a pile of rocks and now we have none. Or close to none, I should say.
Team Slaczynski is currently sitting on the button, throwing their skip's first stone. Looks like they're just trying to toss up a guard.
I think that was J.D. Lind off Karsten's team that threw the high hard one.
So is Selena attempting to draw between those two red rocks?
I can't see that being enough ice to get around the one in the 12-foot, Jason.
This is a path that they just threw, so she should know the line, as long as the weight's good.
Oh, it's not looking good from here.
The line was not good. The weight was a little... Well, the weight would have been okay.
Weight would have been fine.
They actually promoted Team Game up into
Shot
shot
rock.
position.
Obviously a different result from what they were anticipating. Everybody's kind of looking at each other and saying, what happened there?
Well, whatever happened, it wasn't what they were hoping for. So
Not even close.
It looks like at least a 2-score is lined up. I don't think they can actually access the back yellow to score 3, unless they think they can maneuver this port. She may have a setup shot before she has to throw her last as well. Just draw one in there.
Why not play that bump into the, or just draw into the corner?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you bump into the corner and then roll and take that run back away with the yellow onto the red.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we know Selena will be lining up that yellow raise. So I guess they have to choose whether they want to leave it and just throw another one into the house, or choose to attempt to block it with a guard. Or like you said, a combination of the two.
Well, I think if you hit half a rock with back 8 weight, it accomplishes both tasks. You push your red one into the house for second shot and partially take away that run back. But it is a very precise shot.
Mm-hmm. That would be another one of those risk versus reward shots. You could try it and get none of your objectives throwing that one. I think the way they put the broom down, this should curl between the two reds, and
I think just
they
playing,
should just try to draw the edge of the 4-foot behind the corner.
drawing the corner.
As this rock comes into the house, it is not curling at all. Maybe they are attempting the tap. This might be the Ross Sturmay, the way he drew it up. It's exactly what it is, as long as it stays.
Just had to hit it a little thinner.
A little thinner.
But I don't think they were playing that, Jason.
No.
I for whatever reason, all of a sudden, nothing's curling on that side.
It also was likely backline weight
Without hitting
anything.
Yeah.
So if the weight was good, we have seen it kind of all game. If the weight is up, it just does hang. And that is what happened, leaving Selena this little short run back.
In the men's final, last rock by Karsten Sturmay, facing a draw to the 4-foot for his single point. Boys are working on it really, really hard. Is it going to get there? I don't know. And pulls up just 1 inch short. A steal of 1 for Sluchinski puts him up 4-3 after 6 there. Selena's playing the run back, and the girls aren't looking at it at all.
She does make contact, but it slips just too far.
So with red sitting one in the back, I'm thinking we're looking at a draw for two, Jason. What are they looking on the side there for?
If red is third shot and they think that there might be a port there, they might actually try to run into the back Yellowstone and attempt to score 3. Just the way that tap back opened up, that tap back from Unji's first there opened up the Yellowstone. It might be accessible now.
You think so? Can't tell. There's too many bodies in the way.
Another risk versus reward. Do you try the open draw for 2, which isn't really open? There isn't a great path.
No, there's that short tap on the center line.
There's the short tap for 2. Or if there is a port there, maybe the easiest shot is just to play a heavy draw and run into the back yellow.
Yeah, with bodies now clearing, I think you're right. That tap is there, Jason, for a potential 3, depending on who's second shot.
They're still looking, so place your bets.
I won 2 in a row now. I'm not even tempting fate.
Third time's the charm. I could just pick red right away here. Sweepers are on it right out of her hand.
And have stopped.
It's tracking now. Looks like they have to navigate that port using some directional sweeping, trying to make that rock curl.
Oh, there it goes. She's got it.
Great touch.
2 for sure.
2 for sure. Could be a measure. Kicking it away.
I'm guessing 3.
We will report to you when we come back. We are back here, Curling Stadium, live from the Leduc Curling Club, Alberta Curling Series event number 1 here. On our Sunday afternoon, we have Team Geem and Team Sturmay. Game-changing 5th end with Team Geem scoring 3 points to take a 3-point lead into the 6th. Very precise tap back for 3 points from Unji Geem. And we have Team Sturmay taking the hammer into the 6th, the score 6-3. As we move into the 6th end, I'd be remiss without recognizing Jerry Gertz and Curling Zone, putting together Curling Stadium, giving you access to watch all sheets here at the Leduc Curling Club live all weekend. It's a great project Jerry's been running, and you'll see curling stadiums pop up all across the country and across the world. So at this point of the game, Team Sturmay is looking to put some pressure on Team Gim to score a multiple here, being down by 3. There's going to be a sense of urgency there to score at least 2 points to send to stay in the game. Team Gim will be doing the opposite, likely playing a more defensive strategy, just trying to ensure Team Sturmay doesn't score that multiple. A blank would be completely fine to this team from Korea. You'd likely see this stone. Looks like they're attempting to sweep it into the house.
Go around. So does Selena throw up the double guard or just come around?
Well, the guard is slightly tighter than a high guard zone. It's closer to the halfway guard zone, I would say. So it looks like she's coming right around. Tough to spread those 2 guards out enough.
That one looks like it's got a lot on it.
Sweepers have still been sweeping, so it looks like they're trying to take this one back into the house just to get a bury. And it ends up just behind the tee line. Slightly open, perhaps.
Soft weight takeout here, I'm assuming. Hack weight, backline plus.
If you missed it earlier, Yaeun Sol here Suji Kim here throwing second stones. Just celebrated her birthday yesterday, as well as 2 other members of Team Gim here, Yeji Sol and Yaeun Sol, twins on the team. So happy birthdays to them. Happy times.
Starting in an extended journey in Canada to different places. For how many days did you say? 72?
73 days, according to their coach.
Celebrated 3 birthdays in Canada. Potentially win their first event.
They're on the right track, at least.
I'd say they're looking pretty good. 3 up right now, playing 6. For Team Sturmay, definitely they have to score this end.
I would agree with that. However, Team Sturmay has been quite resilient this weekend. Look back to their very first game, even against Team Hilker. They were down 3 points and they didn't have the hammer, and they were able to come back and win that game. So obviously stranger things have happened. This game is by no means over. Some work to do, though.
Well, Selena's team has definitely been known as grinders. There's no 2 ways about it. A lot of times us as parents have kind of started watching other games, and then all of a sudden they're back in the game.
Well, if you need to take a break, we can have you start watching the other game. I can take over here, Ross.
I have been, actually. Not saying I'm giving up just yet, but actually Carson's sitting quite nicely right now in the 7th end.
Well, there's a pile of red rocks in the house behind one guard.
Behind one yellow guard.
Wow. Jeremy Hardy had just missed, so there's still 4 counters, and Team Sturmay is throwing in the men's game. As we take you back to the women's game, we have Team Geem electing to peel the corner guard, throwing the left-handed out turn. And Suji Kim makes no mistake, leaving 1 yellow remaining and 3 reds all behind it.
Selena asking Kate for the little chip shot right now.
Looks like she's trying to attempt to roll her shooter in
As well, yeah.
Trying to manufacture at least 2 points. She's going to attempt to use some of these red rocks to her advantage. This one's curling early.
Straight back wouldn't be the worst.
What a great sweep by Paige Papley.
That's not bad. Back to the men's final, I guess. If ever you had an opportunity to throw the fat rock, which would be a double guard, that's what Karsten's looking for from JD right now.
Mm-hmm. They have 4 rocks in the house, and it looks like they're about the width of 2.5 rocks just on the other side of the center line. Can't guard everything. Looks like Unji is attempting to ask for a short run back here just to remove both yellows. It would likely clip the red as well, but I think that's the least of her worries right now. And just a clean. Maybe they were just attempting the straight peel. The way that they cleaned that rock all the way down. Team Game is still lying 2 points, or two counters at least. But both of them aren't exactly helpful to them. They could also be helpful to Team Sturmay.
Well, with those 2 in the top 12 basically acting like staggered guards, if Abby's able to loop one around here, nothing wrong with that.
We take ourselves back in the day, back into the 2004 Brier final. This is looking fairly similar to that, with Mark Dacey looping rocks around rocks that were in the house to generate a 3.
Girls are going to have to go hard to drag this one into the house.
They've sure used their sweepers today.
They'll probably be feeling it a little bit tomorrow, being the first event, playing a number of games in a short period of time.
So they didn't quite get shot stone here, but they did leave enough of an angle there and essentially a crotch so that there's no way to remove the top yellow, at least with normal takeout weight. They might have to throw this one a little bit harder. It may actually fall right into the back red.
And if you hit it a little too thin, you could just end up getting rid of your red one and your red shooter and leaving the 2 yellow ones there.
Mm-hmm. You have to be careful here. She won't want to over curl. And just as we thought, the yellow stays around, but she's able to remove the other one, pushing Team Sturmay's rock into shot rock position.
Freeze the back one.
She has a few options again. Yeah, freeze the back one, leaves a pretty short double. She could elect to guard. She could elect to throw one.
Well, I don't think Selena will be guarding that. It's either drawing the corner or freezing the back one.
Mm-hmm. If she's able to establish an angle on the top,
that's not bad either.
Rock as well, just corner freeze it.
Then if you have an opportunity, you could throw a good good bump and roll them both in with your last one.
Mm-hmm. Cleaning it all the way, and it starts to come down a bit. Attempting to put this one right on top of the tee line.
Oh, great shot. Probably partially buried.
I think it's just slipped
A
about
little
foot
too
too
far.
deep. It was tough to get as much separation as they needed to avoid leaving a double. So it looks like Unji is going to have a chance to remove both yellows. There weren't many other options, though, Ross.
It's quite flat, though. She's going to have to get behind this one and throw a bit of a missile to get both of the yellow ones. It is there. I guess the fact that they're so close together as well makes it a little easier.
And she does just have to move that yellow rock into the 12-foot.
Yeah, she doesn't have to kill it.
Mm-hmm. Unji lining up for her first in the 6th end. They're attempting to curl this rock. And she makes no mistake. Converts the double.
Really great shot. Just like you drew it up.
The only positive for Team Sturmay here is that rock ended up behind the tee line. So it can be her friend. She can attempt to freeze it. Sit shot stone. Be pretty tough for Team Geem to remove that. Pretty precise draw coming up.
In other words, you're saying Selena needs to drop it on a dime?
As the rock is coming down, sweepers are on it.
Well, they're just playing with it. Must be close.
The sweepers seem to like it. Trying to drop it right on that dime. Looks like it's over curling just a tad. Weight was perfect. But it leaves
just over curled.
From Korea still sitting shot stone.
Just over curled those those couple inches.
As we get later into the game, we might start to see some changes in ice conditions just as the pebble starts to wear down a little bit down the middle. We'll see if it actually plays a factor into some of these shots, but that might have caught them. She's lining up the out-turn pick here. She's able to remove this yellow stone. She could get her number one objective, which would be to force Team Sturmay into a draw for 1. Sweepers are right off, but she makes no mistake. Rolls it into the 8-foot. So we draw against 3 counters for Selena Sturmay.
In the men's game, Aaron Sluchinski's in a bit of trouble here, looking at 4 opposition counters and really no good options. He does have the one double on the other side, but that would leave Karsten an easy hit for a 3. Do you see anything good out of that, Jason?
Aaron has to basically make a decision. Is he going to concede 3 points by playing a double, or is he going to attempt to draw behind a corner guard and risk giving up 5? So both not great options. as we come back to our feature sheet here with Selena throwing her last in the 6th.
Sweepers like it, I think. Just kind of guiding it in.
Ensuring the broom is down. Just needs a good piece of the 8-foot. And finds a piece of the button for her 1. Score now Team Game 6, Team Sturmay 4, with the team from Korea taking the hammer into the 7th end. And we're back in the 7th end here at the Leduc Curling Club, Curling Stadium live coverage. Team Sturmay, Paige Papley throwing her first stone in the 7th end. Team Sturmay with the Yellow Rocks, Team Geem from Korea throwing the red stones.
In the men's final, Karsten Sturmay is drawing for 3 after Aaron Sluchinski did make the double. Looks like it's going to be good for 3, so Karsten will score 3 and be up 6-4, 2 up, coming home without.
We'll see if Team Sluchinski can answer with a 2 of their own to take it into an extra. Big end from Team Karsten Sturmay.
Which could have been bigger.
Could have been a lot bigger. Yeah, it was looking a lot worse for Team Sluchinski. So interesting that the first stone for Team Selena Sturmay here, they threw it in the house and it looked like they were kind of cleaning it in. So it was almost like they were attempting to come in on purpose. Or it was just a heavy stone, because at this point in the game, you need points. So the steal should be objective number 1 from any team down 2 points without the hammer in this instance. They'll attempt to throw a guard again here.
Yeah, not many options other than stealing the win. Steal.
Abby has signaled potentially a freeze of the red rock. This one looks like it may be heavy as well.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know.
Heavy and overcurled by a couple of stones.
Maybe the ice is changing out there, Jason.
I think the smiles on the faces of Team Sturmay leave room for confusion, I think. They don't have an answer to that one. As Yayun So attempts to throw her second takeout of the end here in the 7th. She's going to attempt to sit 2 points here. Do you think Team Sturmay continues to try to throw up guards, or is the end written off?
Oh, you never write off an end. She'll throw a few more guards, and then I think the shot would be to loop around everything.
I would agree with you. I think there isn't enough time to wait until the next end.
I think it's caution to the wind, Jason, and I think you have to put your foot down into Foot down, pedal to the metal, steel mode.
No time like the present.
Well, I think we finally got a guard.
Success number 1.
However, the fact that the 5 rock rule is now over,
Mhm.
I think we'll be making quick work of that guard. Yunji, I think, was just counting stones just to make sure that 5 had been thrown.
Yeah, with her laughter, I think you're right. Suji Kim here, attempting to peel the rock out here. She'll want to have her shooter leave as well.
Nice peel.
It's nice when you can just yell clean down the ice.
Best word heard on the ice. Clean.
As we see rocks being thrown as guards and peels, Team Selena Sturmay at least wanted to just give a couple of tidbits about their team, or should I say Timbits. They love their Timbits.
Oh, they're always forever at Tim Hortons picking some up.
Yeah. A quote by Kate, she said she realized that their team got old when they were excited to go to Costco between games as well. So, I mean, I would beg to differ. I think that the fact that they're entering a under 25 event next week suggests that they are not old, but maybe they feel old.
Maybe they've matured a little.
Yes, I would say matured would be the right word. Yeah, if they're old, I don't know what I am. And then I don't know what you are as well, Ross.
Ancient. Dirt. Dinosaur. I don't know. All of those can apply at certain times.
So they've switched turns. Do you think that means they've switched shots as well?
I don't think so. That loop around, I think, is easier from that other side. Maybe get a feel of the ice from that side. Because I don't remember playing anything that way for a long time.
Maybe they're, just getting a feel for that side of the sheet, knowing that they're going to have to draw on that side eventually to throw that back 4, back 8 shot.
Well, that would be the logical side to throw it from, I would think.
Very smart call if that's the case. Or if they're just attempting to try it now. By the way, they're sweeping it. It looks like they were trying. It is coming up and crashing into that top one, however.
Taking a quick peek at the 8th end of the men's final. Not seeing too many possibilities for a deuce here for Sluchinski. Are you seeing any there, Jason?
Well, not yet. It is only second stones, so
I guess if he makes this double.
There will be some remodeling being asked of Kerr Drummond, Team Sluchinski second. As Team Gein makes no mistake with the takeout, they are able to sit 3 points in the house and force Team Sturmay into throwing some takeouts of their own.
Yeah, it's getting to the point now where you need to start moving some granite, I think. You ain't going to be looping around that.
I'm surprised that they're full on taking rocks out at this point.
Well, you could be pushing back.
You could be pushing some rocks back and using these rocks. I think at this point they're going to mail it in this end, hope for a blank, and hope for a steal of 2 the next end. which may be advisable.
Well, it's difficult to make anything out of that end now.
Mm-hmm. They would have loved to stick around there, now giving Team Game a chance to split the house. And with the steal really not being an option. Less likely of being an option.
And with splitting the house and exchanging stones, looking at probably handshakes if that goes according to plan that way.
If Team Sturmay can find a way to force, at least the game isn't completely out of reach.
Out of reach.
Yeah.
Threes are possible, but giving up a deuce at this stage and going down 4 makes life quite hard.
Mm-hmm. Especially the way that Team Game is hitting over the last 2 ends specifically. They've made everything they've looked at. Selena attempting to throw her first stone here, and she's just considering at least a couple of options. What would you be considering here, Ross?
Well, I think you have to hit the high one and roll in the general vicinity of maybe that other red one. Hoping for a nose hit and then hopefully a double with your second one and getting that blank in play.
Looks like the one that they have the broom on is higher than the other, but that double would be extremely flat.
Oh yeah, I mean, all you
have to throw a 5 in front of that one.
All you can do is kind of roll in that general area,
Mm-hmm.
then hope for a nose, then hope for the double.
She hits the one and rolls over, just not quite on top, but a lot closer into shot rock position. Forces Team Game to be a little careful of where they leave this rock after the successful takeout.
All she needs to do is just hit it and I think roll a bit to the right-hand side of the house there, and it's going to be a 2-ball. If she noses that and sits right there, that's a pretty steep double, isn't it?
Yeah, a nose hit would be. I thought that was what she had signaled actually for her first call, but she may have been talked into hitting and rolling to the side, which I think would leave her a little bit more room to play with. Just a nice controlled takeout here from Unji. They're sweeping for the nose. It has curling a little bit, and they have successfully hit the nose. So it's going to be a very steep double attempt here from Selena Sturmay, hoping to achieve the blank. Would you ever consider trying to draw around at this point?
Well, that's an option. It almost seems as if that ice is straightened out. Is it going to finish enough in that short of a distance to bury itself enough that you don't give up the 3?
I guess you just have to weigh your odds. Like, if you're Team Sturmay, how comfortable would you be even if you make this shot going into the next end down 2 without the hammer, assuming the blank is made?
Well, I've seen them do it a lot of times, Jason, so
yeah.
I don't think it's the place they want to be in, but they have resurrected a few games.
It's just looking close. They're off of it. Oh, and what a great double takeout by Selena Sturmay. Saves her team's bacon on that one. And just like we drew it up, right? We have a blank attempt from Team Game.
Looking for the blank. Selena stealing 2, and then hopefully Team Sturmay getting the opportunity to throw 8 more boulders.
I don't sense any bias out of you here, Ross.
No, not at all.
No.
We're having such a great time commentating. I just want it to go on and on and on.
Right, yes. We have to give our fans as long of a show as possible here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They're sweeping all the way. It is curling. Are they going to be able to get this out of the rings?
No.
Ooh, big mistake from Team Geem. Forced to a single point, with Team Sturmay having the hammer, playing the 8th end. Team Geem 7, Team Sturmay 4. Final at the Alberta Curling Series event number 1, leading 7-4 over Team Sturmay, with 3 of the sweepers sweeping this into the house. Skip getting into it. The rock ending up in the top 8 foot. Team Sturmay is going to try everything they possibly can to score 3 points this end, and obviously the team from Korea, Team Geem, will be looking to avoid giving up the 3. With the 5 rock rule, it seems a little more possible, though.
And it has been. We've seen it a number of times last year. What would you rather be, Jason? Would you rather be 3 up with or 2 down without?
Well, I think I'd rather be 3 up with the hammer, but unfortunately in this case, we don't have the hammer. So I would rather be 2 up with the hammer if I had the choice. I think that they were electing to blank that end last time. So
I'm talking for Team Sturmay.
Oh, yes, Team Sturmay. I would rather be 3 up with the hammer, or 3 down with the hammer, sorry.
You're thinking it's easier to score a 3 than to steal a 2?
I think just the way that Selena has been leaning towards that high hard one, I think she's bound to make that high hard one for a multiple point. And if she can put herself in a situation where 3 is on the table, I think I like her chances.
Well, let's hope we get to see that ending. Mm-hmm. Things are getting really interesting in the men's final here with just a couple rocks to come. Karsten Sturmay has 1 lonely rock in the house, and then there's 3 yellow counters, and Karsten does not have last rock.
I think this is exactly the scenario Team Selena Sturmay is hoping to be in, to give themselves a chance for that big end. Aaron Slachinski is going to be in tough. If Carson can put a rock around a center guard, it's going to be very tricky to get both reds out. So this could be a game-winning shot here from Team Sturmay. And as we get back to our feature sheet, Selena has asked lead Paige Papley to throw another corner guard just on the opposite side of the sheet. Why do you think that they didn't throw the same side on this option?
Well, I think they're going to try to get the double corners in play and create as much havoc and interference as possible.
I'd agree. I think just where Paige's rock ended up, it's just halfway. So if it had been a tight guard, or if it had been a high guard, you might have seen the same side. But those two rocks are spread out. They're fairly hard to remove both of them, at least at the same time. As we update your men's final, it looks like Karsten Sturmay's rock slipped a little bit deep, and it's giving Aaron Slaczynski a chance to either come through a port or it looks like they're attempting to come through a very small port to remove both red rocks and give themselves a score of 3 or 4.
4.
This is a shot for the win coming up. We will keep you posted. And because we have the 5 rock rule here on sheet number 4 on our women's final, we have Team Game unable to remove any of the yellow guards yet. And Aaron Slaczynski makes no mistake on the men's final, scoring a score of 4 in the final end to take the win. Team Slaczynski 8, Team Karsten Sturmay 6. Big shot.
Huge. Great shot. Karsten stops 6 inches higher, and that shot's not there. Well, maybe a foot.
If you want to see a replay of that shot, you can check out the men's final on the Curling Stadium stream. You'll just have to follow along without the commentary. So as this women's final wraps up, I'll give you a little preview of what's to come. The Alberta Curling Series' next event is here at the Leduc Curling Club. The Alberta Curling Series Major, men's major, presented by Global Machine Supply, September 9th to 12th. Yeah, I think there's 24 teams in that field. It's going to be a great field, and you can see Leduc Curling Club for ticket information, or you can visit albertacurlingseries.ca for more details. Next stop on the Alberta Curling Tour on the women's side, the Boston Pizza Alberta Curling Tour, will be at the Saville Shootout that same weekend. You can find details for that event on Curling Zone, as well as the Curling Alberta website, curlingalberta.ca.
Well, we got the 2 corner guards in play, but we also have a pile of red rocks in the house there, Jason.
Well, at least we have rocks in play this end.
That's true.
So the good news about that for Team Sturmay is they can use some of these red stones to help them, to run into them and leave some backing for themselves. Or they can use them to carry them off of to get underneath their own guards. As this one just slides too far.
That's open, so that's available for the Korean gals. Or does she keep adding to the mixture by throwing in the center?
Well, she has a few options again, right? She can peel one of those center guards or attempt to peel both. Or not center guards, corner guards. She can also attempt to hit this side one. Or like you said, just lob another one in there. Make things harder for Team Sturmay to get into the house. At least into the 4-foot to score.
I like this as her best option. Rip that guard and maybe catch that side yellow one with your shooter.
Trying to do 2 things with 1 stone. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Really no danger in trying it, that's for sure.
It's much too thick. She's leaving another corner guard. Leaves the door open for Team Sturmay a little bit.
The plot thickens.
Interesting.
That double's going to be there all the time, hitting the center line, one on the tee line and catching that one in the back 8. So that's not really a big deal, that one. I think the play right now is to hit the one in the 8-foot and roll to the corner.
I agree. If you can see enough of it that you can roll underneath. I think they're the way that they're talking about throwing hack weight. And I guess we'll tell. Yeah, it looks like she's throwing her in turn, so she is going after the rock in the top 8-foot. It's like she heard you there, Ross.
I got lucky and it was a good guess. Looks a little warm.
They have Kate on it to start curling the stone, and she did, obviously, as Paige is on it. They're going to roll it in front of the other one. Okay. So she's now used the other 2 rocks as potential backing for her. Unji's called for the peel. I don't think she can be too nonchalant about this. If she just rolls out, you may just see Selena attempt to just draw around.
Or does she throw caution to the wind and try to absolutely freeze the one right on the tee line? Super tough shot, but you are grasping at straws. However, Aaron Sluchinski just scored 4.
There were quite a few more guards in play on the men's game. Yes. In the men's game. So she is attempting to draw around. To the point you made earlier, Ross, that double is always going to be there. So I think it's just as important to get a rock behind some guards as it would be to remove those rocks at this point.
Well, it's looking pretty good coming in.
Kate is sweeping the inside of this one all the way, attempting to make the rock curl, and she has no mistake there from Abby Marks. And as you said before, the plot continues to thicken. She did slip a little bit deep, giving them access to come off of the other yellow, but that is quite a flat double.
She basically has to push that yellow one basically
10 feet.
10 feet.
Yeah. I've seen Darren Moulding throw a rock hard enough to make that shot. Actually, in this curling club last year, I think you were commentating.
I was
that
commentating game. And laughing all as they were trying to keep up with it. Yeah,
that was me running alongside the rock.
You got a couple licks in too.
At the end. Yeah, once I caught up.
That really helped.
It definitely caught me by surprise.
I think it caught us all by surprise. But he ended up making that shot. I still can't believe that he made that double. Just before he threw it, I said, there's no way a person can make that double.
She's at least making the roll, just tapping it out slightly into the open, which I think was the call, just attempting to make that rock accessible, because as you can count the yellows left, there's only 2 more in the boot rack, there in the rock pack attempting to be thrown. Selena has 2 remaining plus 1 in the house. She needs to count them all.
Well, I think here's where you throw one just biting the 8-foot, and like they say, show 2 cheeks.
Just Christmas tree it, if you will.
Yes. Maybe you get lucky. She hits the top one, jams it on the side one. Then you play the double, 3 ball.
Mm-hmm. Extras.
And then you throw 8 boulders. I can see it, Jason.
Well, we'll see if we can look into your crystal ball and see the answer.
First of all, they need to get this one down into the 8-foot, which ain't happening.
The Twin Towers are on it. They at least needed to get into the house first. And they have just bit, but it is very short.
Now you're going to need to do some kind of wizardry to get score 3 out of that.
Mm-hmm. If Team Game just throws this rock away,
I don't see him.
Don't know if there is a shot.
I don't think you could get inside of that side red one far inside enough to.
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't think so.
It's tricky. You'll have to. You need one more rock. Unfortunately, they do not. Looks like Team Game is just attempting to throw up a guard.
Well, I don't know if you want to come into the house and all of a sudden create something for Selena.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen that happen before. I'll just lob another one in.
All of a sudden, there's a quad available. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kind of like what happened with Karsten with his last one.
Mm-hmm. As this comes into the top of the 4-foot, you know what? I think it may have left.
No.
Nope. and Team Sturmay has conceded to Team Game. Congratulations to Team Game from the Ujangbu Curling Club just outside of Sewell. They are the Alberta Curling Series of Women's Event number 1 champions the 2022 season.
Hey, thanks, Jason, for putting up with me.
And thank you, Ross.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.